IRS was underfunded and understaffed before the current executive orders and the current staffing changes in the federal government. Therefore, we can expect less direct service from the IRS going forward. That is just going to be a factor of the things. One of those direct services is basically processing paper returns manually.
This is Hourglass, the podcast for United Way of King County in Seattle. It's tax season, and in this episode, we'll spotlight United Way's free tax preparation campaign and discuss what's new this year when it comes to filing your income tax return. We'll also hear a message from United Way President and CEO Gordon McHenry Jr. about our work during these challenging times, and we'll spotlight a local volunteer opportunity. I'm your host, Joe Burris. Thanks for tuning in. United Way of King County is offering free tax preparation services for individuals who make less than $80,000 a year or less than $96,000 for non-single filers. Funded by United Way, the IRS, and the City of Seattle, the free tax preparation campaign runs until April 19th. Services are available at more than a dozen locations across King County, including the main branch of the Seattle Library, South Center Mall in Tukwila, and HopeLink Shoreline. Virtual assistance is also available through our online tax site. United Way tax preparation specialists are trained to help clients understand their tax situations and to take advantage of benefits like the Earned Income Tax Credit and the Working Families Tax Credit. And they can prepare returns for back taxes too. Last year, our free tax campaign served more than 12,700 people and leveraged more than $16 million in tax refunds. And this year, our tax sites have been bustling with folks eager to take advantage of this service, particularly when, according to the National Society of Accountants, the average cost for preparing a Form 1040 itemized return is $323. And our tax specialists are great at answering questions about new tax laws and the ways the current political landscape might impact your tax return. A CNN story last week said that the White House's Department of Government Efficiency plans to eliminate 20% of the IRS's entire workforce by May 15th, 1 month after tax day. The report said that at least 6,700 of the IRS's probationary employees have been fired this year, and another 4,700 took voluntary buyouts. How might this affect the turnaround time for refunds or correspondence from the IRS concerning a return? Hourglass asked this and other tax-related questions in a conversation with Casey Lance, United Way's Outreach and Relationship Coordinator for Tax Credits and Financial Stability, and Joshua Fries, Tax Site Manager at Seattle's LGBTQ+ Center and Solid Ground. We begin the conversation with Joshua, who said that the White House's changes to the IRS are raising concerns among those filing their taxes, and those concerns are warranted.
There's a lot of uncertainty and fear going around now, and it's important to, be okay with that. I had a conversation with a client about this a few days ago and be able to meander and waver through it. IRS was underfunded and understaffed before the current executive orders and the current staffing changes in the federal government. Therefore, we can expect less direct service from the IRS going forward. That is just going to be a factor of the things. One of those direct services is basically processing paper returns manually. If you can, we recommend that people e-file, as that will basically, there's like little friction when it comes to e-filing. If you wish to paper file, which in some cases you have to, like for the 2021 tax returns, which is the only way you can claim the stimulus for 2021, and you got till April 15th to do that. Or if you're in certain immigration statuses where you have a spouse outside the country, one of the only ways to file your tax return is by paper. Be very patient with IRS at this time, as they are going through a lot right now. And I know lots of people don't like the IRS, but I understand that they're doing their best that they can and with minimal staffing and funding. So there's that. And that's like basically the biggest barrier we see with folks. But there's been lots of talk about direct file. Would you like to speak a little bit about that?
Yeah. I mean, I'll just add to paper file. Like last year, I was seeing clients come to me and be like, I got a reply on my paper file 9 months later. And that was last year after Biden had added staffing to the IRS. So now that they're gone, like when we say delays, we mean like it could be a year. So you may have some privacy concerns. You may have other concerns about paper filing, and that's okay to have them. I strongly recommend really, really considering if it's worth it to paper file unless you absolutely have to, because especially when, and like, you know, I also see people kind of be a little laissez-faire with like amending returns. Mm-hmm. I really recommend when you file this year, make it right. Like, don't forget your form. Don't forget anything, because yeah, you can amend it. But like, if we're talking last year, there was a 9-month delay. It could be a year before it gets addressed. So if you're owed anything, I strongly recommend get it right the first time when you file. Don't be laissez-faire with amendments. Don't be laissez-faire with paper filing, because it could be a really long time. But to rewind, direct file, yes, IRS direct file is still around. I know Musk has announced in 2 separate tweets that he has canceled it, and they've also fired the people who programmed the original direct file, like the code in the back end. But the thing is, okay, the coders are fired, but now it's no longer in control of that third party anyway. The IRS owns it now. So unless they dismantle the team running direct file, which I have been in personal communication with the team there, and they're saying they're still there. So, you know, things are in flux. We don't know if things could change, but the program is still very much still alive. The IRS wants people to direct file. I use direct file. I just used it a couple weeks ago. I already got my refund back. So if you can direct file, of course, we're happy to serve you with the United Way tax site. We're happy to serve you. But if you're thinking about self-filing, use IRS direct file. If your tax situation allows you to, they don't accept all types of returns. But if you can use IRS direct file, please use it. It's very, very easy to use. In this case, it actually already had my W-2 information. So all I had to do was confirm that it all looked right, and I was all good to go. It took me less than 5 minutes.
There's been this common thing I've seen on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok about how other countries just mail your tax bill and you either say yay or nay to it. We've been clamoring for this for so long, and the IRS has brought it to us. It is here.
It is here.
Use
it.
Use it.
Please use it. So that's my recommendation.
I would recommend for those clients that love to do it themselves. Just spoke with one last night. They were very kind, very astute. They really want to do it so they understand their tax situation. The IRS has something called like fillable forms. And so if you want that experience, that'd be the best way to do it. Paper filing right now is probably not going to be advantageous for you.
Okay. And when you said 9 months, you mean 9 months from the time you hear back from the IRS, or 9 months from the time you get a refund if you have one?
Oh, that's just to get a reply.
Yes.
Like we're talking like, I can't remember the context exactly, but this client was having some back and forth issues with the IRS of like, there was something weird about their kid, or so, I don't really remember the situation, but it took 9 months before they got a letter back just acknowledging the paper file and that there was an issue with the return, and then they had to send information back. So that wasn't even like done yet. That was just 9 months for the IRS to send them a reply by mail. So, and again, that was with Biden's extra staff, who are no longer there.
Okay. And I want to always touch upon the fact that, some people, and just happens, some people cannot file before April 15th.
Of course.
What happens?
So the best situation to do if you cannot file before April 15th is to file for an extension. I always tell people that the IRS doesn't like to be ghosted. So you always want to at least, I know lots of people have anxiety and nervousness about paying the IRS. I'm in that boat this year. I'm paying the IRS this year. However, what matters is filing on time.
Mhm.
And I mean these words deliberately. It is an order of magnitude worse to not file than it is to not pay. And what the extension form does is it gives you 6 extra months to file the tax return, not pay any outstanding balance, but to file. And it gives you till October 15th. And so, if King County usually operates a post-tax season site at the Central Library.
Great.
And just a couple things to add. So if you don't owe, it doesn't matter if you file after April 15th.
Correct.
So that is one thing, like, it really doesn't matter. And what does matter is if you didn't get the 2021 stimulus, you've got until middle of May. Not quite sure what the date is. But if you don't owe, if you have a refund, it's okay if you file after April 15th.
Right,
it's totally fine. There's no penalty. It's mostly we're just talking about people who owe. And again, it really isn't that big a deal to file an extension. The IRS doesn't care. Pretty much every professional tax person I know doesn't file until like 10 p.m. on April 14th. So it's fine. Just make sure to let the IRS know by filing that extension. I think you can even do it on your IRS account.
Oh, yeah. You can do it online.
And also, so we'll be operating until April 19th, day before Easter, at all of our sites. If any of them close before then, we'll have a notice on our website. So you can still come to file it with us at all of our sites until the 19th, and then we'll close until May 1st, when we'll reopen it. We don't know which sites yet, but it's probably going to be almost certainly the Seattle Public Library downtown and probably 2 more sites. We just have to figure out which ones. Okay. And we'll be operating from May 1st to July 31st, probably. Don't have it confirmed yet, but that's probably what we're doing.
Okay. How have the tax laws changed since last tax season?
So in terms of like the actual changes, not as like substantial as in like prior seasons, like within like the ACA of 2015 or the Tax Cuts Jobs Act of 2018. And so what we have noticed, though, is basically like kind of like little mechanical changes in how the IRS operates. So, for instance, if there used to be like a race to the accountant to claim dependents on the tax return, meaning the first one to claim child Sally would be able to claim child Sally on their tax return. However, this year they allowed basically whoever has child Sally's like information and the kid's IP pin, identity protection pin, to claim the kid too. And then there's also some other things with a retirement account distributions that is useful for the average taxpayer in terms of like using premature distributions from retirement accounts for DV situations and emergencies. So, yeah.
Okay.
So, but nothing really super substantial this year, which is surprising.
Okay. What kind of traffic are we seeing for someone who's going to one of our free tax sites? What kind of traffic are we seeing?
Well, just to go back for a second, I'll also add this is year 3 of the Working Families Tax Credit.
Yes.
So just want to plug that is a state tax credit, still exists, will continue to exist in perpetuity, at least as far as we know, / hope. They're working on trying to expand it a bit. So far, no expansion bills have passed yet, but that is still around. So if you haven't been claiming it, it's not too late to claim this year or last year or the year before.
Oh, well.
So come on in if you haven't gotten it and get your Working Families Tax Credit. We can do it. In terms of traffic at our sites, right now we're seeing a lot of people, more than, well, at least since I've been here in the last 5 years. This is the busiest we've been by this time this year, going back and looking at stats. So we are really busy. Not all of our sites are universally busy, but certainly if you're listening to this and you're thinking of visiting United Way tax site, while some of the busy sites will still serve you, I might recommend you go to a less voluminous site.
Okay.
So if you can, maybe don't go to the Seattle Public Library, maybe don't go to the South Center Mall tax site, or if you do, just expect to wait. Josh, both his sites are actually kind of low volume right now, so if you want to visit Solid Ground in Wallingford and the Seattle LGBTQ Center in Capitol Hill,
good.
Those are both good tax sites to go to. We've also got Rainier Beach Community Center, El Centro de la Raza, Lake City Customer Service Center. Quick note on Lake City. It's not the place that burned down. It's not the empty lot. It's to the left of the empty lot on the second floor up the stairs. So I just want people to know, because sometimes they go there and they're like, it burned down. It's like, no, it didn't burn down.
That's good. That's good to know.
The building next to it.
Okay.
So I would suggest going, March is when we start seeing a lull at some sites. So this is a really good time to go. I recommend not waiting until April.
Okay.
And again, if it's okay if you go to a busier site, but just know that there may be a bit of a wait. We're doing our best to help as many people as we can, as quickly as we can. But part of good service is, well, we work with people as long as they need to be worked with. And if people come in with complicated tax situations, if people come in with multiple years of returns, sometimes it's like, yeah, they got here before you. So even if you only have a simple W-2 and your return will be done in like 20 minutes, it's like, well, the other guy got here first. So it's only fair that we go in order.
Okay.
Anyway.
That's great. Great. Any new deductions, any previous deductions that no longer apply? Anything out there?
In terms of deductions, there isn't anything that like comes to my mind, really. Most of the deductions, meaning expenses that can lower your taxable income, have stayed the same.
Okay.
What I would recommend is that people kind of look at the credits they're going for. So one of the credits actually is the education credits, American Opportunity Tax Credit and Lifetime Learning Credit. Generally, these are easy to claim, but the IRS has clarified some rules regarding it, and you can look at Pub 970 to learn more. And there's a funky little thing where basically a lot of people are not claiming the full American Opportunity Tax Credit as they could. So in a lot of students don't claim it because they think, I don't got a 1098-T, I shouldn't claim it. And in fact, they should. And then there's also, as I mentioned before, you can use your retirement account in 2024 and hopefully in 2025 for cases where there's domestic violence or emergencies where basically it's an unprecedented expense without receiving the 10% penalty. So while not exactly deductions, those are taxpayer benefits that more folks should be aware of.
Okay.
Yeah. And I would add, for education credits, almost every person I've seen come in when they've done their own education credits has made a mistake. So personally, I'd recommend, if you're a student or if you're the parent of a student, it might be a good idea to just not necessarily come in to see right away, but come in to see somebody if it's the first time you've tried to file for education, because like it's so easy to get it wrong. It's not that, like, as far as I know, programs just don't automatically calculate things correctly. You really have to know what you're doing to do education credits correctly. So at least for your first year, I recommend, come to United Way, go to ARP, go to a different VITA site, or see a paid professional, but just have somebody walk you through the way that you claim it, just so that you're not leaving money on the table, because it might be thousands of dollars that you're leaving on the table.
And then lastly, you've done this for a few years. Is something that you would like those seeking to use our program to know before they visit a site?
Yeah, and I'm sure you have thoughts too, but I would say, I guess just as an FYI, I mean, vast majority of the people at our sites are volunteers. We're doing the best we can. I know this is a really stressful time for people, especially maybe more so right now. People can get stressed at our sites. People get stressed when they have to wait. All of our returns, we have one person prepare it and a second person quality review it. I think people get frustrated about the fact that, but you just did my return, why can't I just leave? Or sometimes they don't understand that their return still has to be QR'd, so they'll leave. And it's just like, but it wasn't filed. And then we'll like hear from them in like 3 weeks being like, why wasn't it filed? I'm like, well, you left before we could QR your return. So anyway, my point is, hey, like, we're doing the best we can with the volunteers we have. Please be patient, especially if you arrive at a site and there's a lot of people. We are really trying our best to serve everyone we can, as quickly and as well as we can. And we will get to you when we can get to you. Just don't arrive near close. Try to arrive closer to open. If you go to a site that's open a bit longer, like the library, it's actually better not to arrive right at open. Same thing with the mall, because a lot of people arrive then. There's usually like this thing where from like 11 to 2, say at South Center, slammed, crazy. But by 2, we've started to really get through most of those returns. And now there's not a lot of people waiting anymore.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
So I suggest for like Seattle Public Library, South Center Mall, and maybe a few of our sites that are open a while, maybe don't come quite right open. Come like in the middle.
Okay.
But don't come near close.
The sweet spot in the middle.
Yeah, come in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, definitely front loading tax sites will not be a pleasant time. I definitely agree about that. What I also recommend is that we have explicit instructions on uwkc.org, and you can go there to find where free tax help is near you. And there's like a list of things such as like tax documents you need to find, social security cards for you and your dependents or alternatives, photo IDs, and read through that very carefully to make sure you got everything. We'll be happy to work with you to figure out if you're missing something. But besides that, what I recommend is just making a little ritual out of it. Your community is helping you basically work with you and basically do your taxes for you. So like make it a nice little like cultural traditional thing. Go out for like a little bit of like pizza beforehand, or maybe get some coffee. Maybe not, maybe something decaf though. But we'll be there. And if you come in with like an attitude to be surprised and willingness to learn, we'll be there with you and help you out hand in hand.
Perfect. Casey and Josh, thank you so much. United Way of King County Tax Preparation Campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For more information about United Way of King County's free tax preparation campaign, log on to freetaxexperts.org. And now a word from United Way of King County President and CEO Gordon McHenry Jr.
Challenging times. It's really important that folks who are part of the United Way community know that we are 100% committed to continuing to do the work we have been doing, the work that is rooted in equity, the work that is aspirational, so that we have a region where everyone thrives. It's important for you to know that we see you, we hear you. We will continue to serve and support if you allow us that privilege. It's important to know that we are going to increase our proximity to the communities we're privileged to serve. We are going to be a courageous advocate for policies that uplift folks, and we're going to be a courageous advocate against policies and practices that serve to oppress or harm. If you give us the ability to be your partner, we will not let you down. We will stay strong, and we're going to make good progress.
Interested in a volunteer opportunity? Sound Generations is seeking volunteers to join its Meals on Wheels program. Located in Seattle, Sound Generations promotes the social, emotional, and physical well-being of older adults through a network of community connections and services. Sound Generations Meals on Wheels program provides well-balanced, nutritious, ready-to-eat meals each week with home delivery and specialized options like vegetarian and kosher meals. As a Meals on Wheels volunteer, you'll be part of a team that delivers meals to homebound seniors. Sound Generations is looking for drivers and meat packers to support deliveries in SeaTac. For more information, log on to soundgenerations.org. At United Way of King County, we are working side by side with communities to build an equitable future for everyone. Hourglass United Way is a podcast that highlights how we and our partners spend time making a difference in our communities. Our work is made possible by the generous donations from people like you. Please send comments and suggestions about our podcast to hourglassunitedway@gmail.com. To learn more about our work or to support United Way, log on to uwkc.org. I'm your host, Joe Burris. Thanks for listening. Until next time.